Today I want to discuss some of the reasons why you may not be seeing the results that you want, and why you may have hit a plateau that you really can't seem to overcome. And number one is because you haven't addressed your gut. So gut infections, fungal infections like candida, yeast overgrowth, things like that are incredibly common. And birth control does increase the risk of candida. Antibiotic use does decrease the good bacteria in our gut, which help to boost our immune system and produce neurotransmitters like serotonin. And it can really lead to incessant cravings, things like candida and yeast overgrowth can. So if you have some digestive difficulties, if you're not very regular, and maybe you're experiencing some acid reflux, that is a sign that you don't have proper digestive enzymes and that your diet needs to be addressed in order to support your gut health. So Hippocrates said all disease begins in the gut, and this is very, very much true. So addressing the gut is number one. Number two is you're just kind of following the trends. Maybe your friend tried keto and had great success, and you want to try it as well. Well, a low carb diet may be good for some people, like those with candida or neurological difficulties. So, if you're at risk for Alzheimer's, if you suffer from migraines, things like that, then keto could be a great approach. But for some people, we don't digest fats as well. And keto, because we're cutting out carbs, we are replacing those carbs oftentimes with more dietary fats. And for someone like me, my genetics do not really support a high fat diet, especially saturated fats from things like processed meats and cheeses and animal products. So for that reason, that can really congest your liver if you don't respond well to a higher fat, lower carb diet. So it's something to know about your genes and your ancestry. One size does not fit all. And for me, I have more amylase, which is the digestive enzyme which helps break down complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes and rice and things like that. So I am more equipped to break those down and not going to see the same blood sugar spikes and things like that. Something to know, and to maybe consider getting a genetic test to see what diet might be most supportive for your health. Number three is really following that diet mentality of restriction, calorie counting. This can lead to the binge eating cycle. Our body cannot differentiate between self-imposed food shortages and actual food scarcity, like a famine. And so if we are all of a sudden getting a decrease in caloric intake, then our body is going to respond to that by getting better at storing fat. And it is also going to slow our metabolism down, thinking that there is a food shortage and we need to conserve. And so it's not going to encourage us to expend more energy through our metabolism, and it's going to really hold on to those calories and store them as fat, and that can produce opposite results that you were hoping for. In addition, this binge eating cycle, really reducing caloric intake and restricting, eventually that's encouraging your body to overconsume as soon as there is an abundance of food around. So if you sometimes feel out of control around food, you're eating for the wrong reasons, for emotional reasons, out of boredom, or you just have those incessant cravings for refined carbohydrates and sugars, then that is a sign that you're stuck in this binge eating cycle. And so creating more balance and harmony in your eating and your lifestyle can really help just create more, like I said, balance, so that you're not suffering from this cycle that's repeating itself over and over again. And I really encourage my clients to focus on nutrient density with their meals. So more fiber, making sure that you're getting those protein intakes, making sure that you're getting healthy fats at all of your meals and things like that, so that your body isn't going into, starvation mode and thinking that you need to increase your caloric intake through upping those hunger hormones. So if you're stuck in that cycle, that can be really frustrating, and there are definitely ways to overcome that. Number 4 is believing that, pain equals gain. Like, you have to go to the gym, even if you are fatigued and unmotivated, even if it is you're on your cycle and your body is really encouraging you to rest. You feel like you have to get to the gym anyway, because if you don't go to the gym, you're scared that maybe you're going to gain weight and all of your progress will fade away. But there are times in the month for women that our cortisol is higher, and this is our stress hormone. And exercise is a stressor on the body. We usually associate it as a good stressor, and it is oftentimes, but we want to make sure that we are being intuitive about what our body needs. And during the second half of our cycle, when our cortisol is higher, that is going to encourage us to store fat and also slow our metabolism when we are getting those stressors like abundance of exercise. So if you're really doing the HIIT training and doing lots of cardio and running, then this can have the opposite effect that you were hoping for. Instead of burning more calories, your body is going to be encouraged to store more calories, thinking that there's a threat present and you're like running from a bear. Versus the first half of the month, when our testosterone is higher, we are better able to build lean muscle mass and burn fat. But that really drops off second half of the cycle, and that is why things like weightlifting and yoga and just lighter intensity exercises can be more supportive for our health. So something to consider and know about your feminine cycle. And last, number 5 is you're too focused on the number on the scale. And so if you are stuck in this goal-oriented mindset, as soon as I am at this weight, then I'll be happy. As soon as I, lose 10 pounds, then I will be successful. And until then, I'm just not going to be satisfied. And this can be really dangerous because weight loss is not static. It is, a little bit of a roller coaster. And for women, sometimes of the month we are storing more water, and our body is working in mysterious ways a lot of times that the scale cannot really reflect. And so it's really important that we focus on other health markers, because if you are changing your lifestyle, you're adopting healthy habits, then good things are happening to your body. Your blood sugars are getting more under control, and all of these good things are happening that we are losing sight of when we're just attached to that number. And oftentimes, when we see the number we want on the scale, then we want to reward ourselves, often with foods. And I use the analogy of a piggy bank. So let's say every time that we have a win, we put a quarter in the piggy bank. And then, we had that one, so we want to reward ourselves. So we just take that quarter right back out and go spend it. We're going to have nothing to show for our efforts. Versus if we allow that money to keep going into the piggy bank and we're really building up those wins, and then we actually have something to show for it. And that's not really happening when we are rewarding ourselves with food after every single weight loss that we see. So that can be one repercussion of being too attached to the scale. And on the other hand, if you're prone to emotional eating, then not seeing the number you want on the scale can cause some difficult feelings and emotions that crop up. And if you're not used to managing those in a helpful way, then you might be turning to foods to deal with those uncomfortable feelings. So for that reason, I think it's great to stay away from the scale, especially for the first couple of months when you are adopting new healthy habits, and stay focused on other things like your energy levels. What about your symptoms? Period pain, headaches, are those getting better? And also, your blood sugars. Are you responding to your hunger and eating what your body is needing? And stopping when you are comfortable? Are you not getting that huge crash after lunch? All of these things are signs that your body is achieving more balance and harmony, and that good things are happening, even if you're not seeing it in the form of a number. So trying to stay focused on that can really help keep you motivated, keep the momentum going, and eventually you will see the results that you want. So if any of this is sounding like it could be related to you and what you are dealing with, please, please, please reach out. I'd love to help you overcome any kind of frustrating plateau that you might be dealing with right now and help you find those blind spots. Because I have a lot of people who say, I'm pretty healthy, I eat well and I exercise. But if you haven't addressed sleep, if you haven't addressed stress and, stressors in our environment, so pollutants and chemicals in our products, then there can be a lot of chaos, internal chaos happening. And oftentimes when people think they are eating a nutritious diet, it still might not be the diet that is most supportive for them based on their genes and their ancestry and their unique needs. So these are all things to know, and just remember that one size does not fit all. Really letting go of that diet mentality and honoring your internal hunger signals, restoring your relationship with food, prioritizing sleep hygiene. All of these things can really reduce inflammation and just have a profound impact on your overall health and wellness. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. And again, I'd love to hear your comments, your questions, and reach out via DM if you want to chat. Thanks.